in my domain, got the whole crowd screaming out our name. It's a blowout, it's a hurricane, it's over before you know it. While you shaking, we're a dynasty in the making. We're the royalty, now we're breaking down the enemy. Move over for the soldiers. Take a swing, I can take a hit. If we die, it's fine, we live for this. It's all for this. We're gonna stand on top with our hands in the sky. Gonna raise our cup to the stadium lights. For the glory, for the glory. We celebrate with the city tonight. Hear the hometown cheer, it's the ultimate high. For the glory, we do it for the glory.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome here as we get set for race number 15 of our 6th season of the NNSCRA Hersheys Cup Series. We are continuing on our chase towards the chase for the championship, which is definitely beginning to take shape, but there's certainly a number of races still left to go, so anything still can happen as we prepare for 47 laps of racing in the Ticking Guardian 500 at Phoenix International Raceway. We're racing in the desert, and we have definitely seen some very interesting races so far this weekend. We ran clean and green for our Tax Layer Truck Series race, and then we had only one caution for our Pizza Deck Series race. And two very surprising winners came out of both of those events. Will we see a third surprise winner here to cap off this race weekend? It's all about a win, a trip to victory lane to try and get yourself a spot in the playoffs, and the top 5 for our starting grid here today, all looking for their first win of the season. We got a couple of former champions lined up on the front row. Anthony McCrury, who was the inaugural champion back in Season 1 for the Hersheys Cup Series, lines up on the pole position. K Mathews, who took the championship back in Season 3, lines up on the outside of row number 1. As a matter of fact, both these drivers looking to get their teams their first wins of the season as well for Seth Cole Baker Motorsports and Retro Racing Enterprises. We're not counting the non-points win that Charles Sandfer got in the All-Star race. You look back in row 2, J Srigley, who had a great run in the Coca-Cola 600 last week, he lines up third, looking for his first win of the season. And then alongside of him, another Seth Cole Baker Motorsports entry, Sean Gallighan in the 44. Surprisingly, he has not yet been to victory lane this year. And completing the top 5, J Bryant, who actually has been a bit of a sleeper. He cracked the top 10 in points last week after a good run the Coca-Cola 600, but he is also looking for his first win of the year for Young Motorsports. It's certainly going to be an interesting one, though, because as we've seen so far this weekend in the Trucks race and the Pizza Deck Series race, track position is key. But I also know that these drivers cannot make it 47 laps on one tank of fuel. So if we end up going into a green flag run, which has seemed to be the case for most of this weekend, we could potentially see this race winner come down to whoever is going to be able to nail a green flag pit stop. And that could certainly be a shakeup as far as our playoff grid is concerned. In just a moment, we'll give you your top 10, the point standings coming to this race, as well as what your playoffs grid would look like if this season were to end now and the playoffs were to begin. But for now, we're going down trackside to get those most famous words in motorsports.
Drivers, start your engines!
As the command is given, your top 10 in points presented by Golden Corral are as follows. Joshua Collard, following up the Coca-Cola 600, is now the new points leader by 14 points over the former points leader Dylan Poteet. Jordan Anderson currently is third in the standings, Zachary Fitzwater in fourth, and Brandon Gonzales currently sits in fifth. Sean Gallighan is currently sixth, Tim Walsh is seventh, J Bryant eighth, Benjamin Miles currently sits in ninth, and John Arndt completes the top 10 after his win last week. L Alvarise is up to 34th in the points. He still needs to get in the top 30 in the standings for his win to count towards a playoff position. Good news is he's only 6 points away from 30th in the standings, and you see him rolling off from the 7th position. We'll give you your playoff grid in just a moment, but the field is exiting turn 4, so it's time to get ready to go racing here in the desert. 47 laps of racing. McCrury and Mathews, a couple of former champions on the front row. Who's going to take today's checkered flag? Green flag is in the air. Let's roll. And I don't know if someone was just caught napping on the start or if somebody blew up or what. They really backed up here. There's a problem. Someone's had a problem on the start. I think it was L Alvarise. Alvarise in the 08 is slow. He's trying to get out of everybody's way. But problems for last week's winner, L Alvarise. I think he may have missed a shift. He may have blown 3rd gear, 4th gear or something. Might be down a cylinder. Ooh, contact there between Cole Baker and Kat Batson as they try and make their way by. Up front, though, 3 wide for the lead. J Bryant to the inside. Srigley up the middle. McCrury gets kicked up topside. And Srigley's going to lead that lap. Ooh, contact between Mathews and McCrury. Literally leaning on each other there as Bryant looks like he will clear for the lead. It'll now be 3 wide for 2nd. Gallighan down to the bottom. Mathews in the middle. Srigley up top side. There's Chris Dodd there in the 88 in the mix. Fitzwater in the 59. His teammate in the 55, Shane Lake. They are racing tooth and nail up here all the way through the field. And the one thing that I'm a little bit concerned about now is if this thing does go into a long green flag run, that 08 of L Alvarise, who apparently is not up to speed, these leaders may end up encountering him at some point. They may have to deal with traffic. Here comes Kyle Mathews to the bottom. Nice run on the inside line. Drag race to the line with J Bryant. Doesn't get the top spot just yet. Might be able to get him here in turns 1 and 2. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think Kyle Mathews... No, actually, I thought he was a former winner at Phoenix, but then I remembered back, I think it might have actually been Richmond that I'm thinking of where he went to victory lane. Let's actually, while we've got a moment, let's look back and see who the former winners were at Phoenix here in the Hersheys Cup Series. Season 1, it was Jeremy Jones. That was back when the 18 was a Toyota, if I remember correctly. Zachary Fitzwater was the winner of this event back in Season 2. Or, I'm sorry, Season 3. I think did I skip one? No! Zachary Fitzwater was a 2-time Phoenix winner. Season 2 and Season 3. Season 4, race winner was Kyle Mathews. Alright, so I was right. He is a former winner at this track. Season 5, the defending winner of this race was Dylan Poteet, the former points leader. So we have 3 former winners at this track in this field. Mathews, Fitzwater, and Poteet. Boy, I don't like the way they're leaning on each other there. Gallighan and Bryant as Chris Dodd there 3 wide for 2nd place. And this is a lot more racing for the lead than we saw in both our Tax Slayer Truck Series and Pizza Deck Series races. Here comes Chris Dodd to the inside. Oh, trouble! Gallighan hooks Kyle Mathews up into the wall. Caution will wave. More drivers pile in. Oh my goodness, it's a stack up. It's a parking lot on the front straightaway. Big wreck. Ciculli, Miles, Gonzales, Anderson, Kat Batson, and I believe the leaders had crossed the line before that yellow came out. No, they didn't. They were before the start-finish line, so they just took the yellow, and oh my goodness. Big wreck, the biggest wreck we've seen so far this week, and it was up at the front of the field. Kyle Mathews, Sean Gallighan, a number of players at the front collected up in this one. And now drivers coming to pit road. I don't necessarily know if this is the only pit stop these drivers are going to have to make. Levi McIntyre's on pit road. He was involved. Saw a number of drivers up in the air. One of them was Benjamin Miles in the 25. drivers just plowing in. I think J Gardner was involved, if my memory serves me correctly. And I would be surprised if it's anything less than a 4-tire stop. No, 2 tires it looked like for a number of drivers. Chris Dodd, 2 tires. I think Shane Lake may have gone with fuel only, as did the 21 of Joseph Srigley. And I believe Srigley is going to be the race leader when we go back racing. But a big wreck out of turn 4 takes out a number of race leaders and then all the way back through the back of the field. Let's take a look and see what happened. First caution comes out on lap number 8 here at Phoenix. Well, so much for this race being clean and green and us seeing green flag pit stop. See, K Mathews took a very high entry into turn 3. It looked like that car actually stepped out on him for a brief moment. But let's see where the contact initially begins. Oh, it was J Bryant. He got S Gallighan in the right rear, and that turned him up into the left rear of K Mathews. Look at some of these guys, how they were able to avoid there. K Shearer, J Fitzwater, Anthony McCrury. Look at Joshua Collard there, the points leader, be able to slow down in time. But then other drivers just not able to get down to the bottom quickly enough. There's J Richardson in the 11. He gets involved. Down into J Shelton, Levi McIntyre, T Walch gets a piece of it, and there they are just piling in. R Reynolds, Jordan Anderson, Blaine Keys. There's Gonzales, there's Miles up and into the air. Joshua Ciculli in it, John Arndt was in it, Kat Batson was in it. K Mathews up and on his side. That car does come back down on all 4 wheels, but one car back there is completely upside down. I think that's the no, it isn't Benjamin Miles. Who is that? Oh, that's Richardson in the 11. But I mean, man. There's McIntyre down against the inside line. I think we had a follow-up wreck here. Dylan Pote got involved. Who'd he get into? Oh. Well, we saw that Levi McIntyre got a piece. Watch left side of your screen. There's the contact with the 19. Or with the 99, I should say. He gets run into right there by Daniel Voyles, and then Dylan Poteet's going to hit the both of them. A couple of teammates slipped by there. J Gilbert in the 98, Cole Baker in the 18. And just like that, 2 of the former race winners of this event get caught up with very significant damage, especially on K Mathews. And Dylan Poteet also with some front-end damage there as well. So that's what brought out the caution for the first time here today at Phoenix. Let's go back to green. Green flag set to go back in the air here on lap 13 of 47. A lot of drivers with varying strategies, hence why the top 10 looks a bit shuffled up as Joseph Srigley, who went gas and go on that pit stop, gets us back underway. Ooh, L Alvarise there. He's a lap down. Apparently came to pit road. They fixed whatever the issue was that was causing him speed issues on the start of this race. And he's going to get by Joseph Srigley and get at least one of those laps back. He is 2 laps down scored, and I believe this will put him only 1 lap down now to Srigley as he crosses the line. So now Alvarez hoping for another quick caution so we can line up to the inside, maybe try and get that other lap back. Now L Alvarez is running 30th position. He's trying to make it into the top 30 in points. The good news for him is that there were a number of drivers that did not make it back to this restart out of the race after that big wreck we just saw, and they include the following: J Shelton, J Gardner, K Mathews, Blaine Keys, Kat Batson, Brandon Gonzales, Joshua Ciculli, R Reynolds, Benjamin Miles, J Richardson, S Gallighan, and Levi McIntyre. Should also make mention that if this thing goes into a long green flag run, there's a number of drivers that return to the track that are very badly damaged and probably not up to speed and may be encountered by these race leaders at some point in time in this race. Dylan Poteet's out there without a hood. I believe K Mathews is out of the race. There's a couple of other cars, though, that returned back to the track that have very significant damage, and we'll look and see who they were in just a moment as this battle is on for the lead. Shane Lake trying to become the 3rd different rookie to go to victory lane this season. Joshua Collard took his first career win at Bristol. Benny Watson took his first career win at Dover, denying Shane Lake that day a chance at taking the checkered flag, and now Shane Lake trying to become the 3rd driver, trying to do it here at Phoenix. One thing I would question, though, is Both Shane Lake and Joseph Srigley came to pit road and didn't take on any tires. Both went with fuel only. Charles Sandfer, lone representative now for Retro Racing Enterprises. Both his teammates, Kyle Mathews, Jessica Shelton, out of the race after that first wreck. Coming off some good momentum, winning the All-Star race a couple of weeks ago at Charlotte. Now trying to get his first win of the season. He'll pull alongside of Joseph Srigley for second place. Sandfer comes into this race currently situated 26th in the points. So if he got a win, he would currently be in one of the playoff positions. He's going to get to the inside of Srigley, and now he's going to pull alongside of Shane Lake. That is for the race lead. We should make mention, I was going to do this back before, give you guys an outlook of what the playoff grid would look like if the playoffs were to begin right now. Two-time winners Alex Drayton and Dylan Young would obviously be up in the number 1 seed. Joshua Collard, all these are one-time winners. Collard, Poteet, Zachary Fitzwater, Brandon Gonzales, Tim Walsh, Benjamin Miles, John Arndt, K Shearer, Dallas McIntosh, Benny Watson, Brooke Allen would join them. That's 13 drivers that would get in via race wins at this current point in time. That would leave 3 spots available for drivers that are running highest in the point standings without a win, and right now those spots would go to Jordan Anderson, Sean Gallighan, and Joseph Srigley. Charles Sandfer out in front, caution's out again. Second caution of the day, and that's a big break for L Alvarise there in the 08. He'll only be 1 lap down now, and maybe on the next restart, might be able to get back on the lead lap. Charles Sandfer very well might have had to deal with a challenge from Alex Drayton, who was charging up through the field pretty quickly there. But with that yellow flag, will these drivers take this opportunity under the second yellow to come to pit road again, or will they stay out this time? Wait and see if they dive for pit road, and if they don't, then we'll look and see if we can find out who was involved in this second yellow, and no, they are not going to come to pit lane. Cole Baker is on pit road there in the 18. A lot of front end damage on his machine. J Bryant's way back here in that 22. He was up near the front earlier. Oh, wow. A lot of damage on Kat Batson's number 70. Dylan Poteet is also coming to pit road in the 31. So at least 3 drivers coming to pit road that have damage. So we'll try and pinpoint for you where that wreck was and the drivers that were involved. Charles Sandfer paces us under caution. Second yellow flag of the day here at Phoenix. We saw this in yesterday's Pizza Hut X Series race that there's not a whole lot of banking in these corners. The sun's been beating down this racetrack as the tires wear, the grip wears, and drivers aren't able to always enter into the corner the way they want. Cole Baker entering into the corner there, and you see the car slides up on him. And as it slides up, Kat Batson's already on his right rear quarter panel. And she's going to hook him up into the wall. Cole Baker's going to actually go over and onto his roof. A wild ride there for the 18. And then another hit right there as his car was almost coming back down. Flips him back over again. So he continues the barrel roll ride. And I think Dylan Poteet got through it. Yeah, he did, just barely. But a wild ride there for Cole Baker in the 18. And pretty hard lick there as well for both him and Kat Batson. Cole Baker came into this race 16th in the point standings. Looking for his first win of the season. Doesn't look like it's going to happen here today at Phoenix. Waiting on the pace car to give us a 1-to-go signal. It should be this time. We are just now past the halfway point of this race, and we are already working our second caution, which is the most cautions we've had in a race so far this weekend. The truck race had none. Pizza Hut X Series race had 1 yellow flag. So we've already broken the record this week for cautions in a race. I look here at the front, and I look at some of the names that are up inside of the top 10, and a number of them jump out at me. We got the race leader, Charles Sandfer. You got Shane Lake there in second, who finished runner-up at Dover. You got Joseph Srigley there in the 21 and third, who had that great run in the Coke 600 last week. Anthony McCrury, who started on the pole, 5th. Hartnett in 6th. Dodd in 7th. Cody Smart, 8th. I mean, these are drivers that are looking for their first win of the season and definitely could be a player in the postseason if they can close out the deal. But you also look at former winners this season. Two-time winner Alex Drayton. He's up there in 4th. He'd love to be a 3-time winner. You've also got back there in 9th and 10th, Daytona 500 winner Dallas McIntosh, and then the winner 1 week later at Rio, K Shearer. They'd love to get their 2nd win of the season. So there's a lot of players up here at the front. And how about L Alvarise? Stayed in front of the leaders, got that caution. He's now only 1 lap down. And after the retiring of Kat Batson and Cole Baker, he's now up to the 28th position in points. Maybe if he can get by Charles Sandfer on this start, hold off Charles Sandfer and get another quick yellow, L Alvarise could be back on the lead lap. And we have pretty much established that despite the issue he had at the start of this race where he was off the pace, they have gotten that car back up to full song, and he's going to go by Charles Sandfer and get that other lap back. Now he needs another quickie yellow. Shane Lake going to use that lap car to get to the inside line. He's going to try and take the top spot back away from Charles Sandfer. Not able to do it yet, though. Sandfer's going to get him at the line by about half a car length. And boy, they are racing really hard for that lead. Shane Lake crowding Sandfer up the racetrack. Sandfer's not going to give an inch, though. Still side by side for the top spot. Meanwhile, further back, Anthony McCrury started on pole, kind of faded back early. Now he's moving by Alex Drayton. That is for the 3rd position. Continue that side-by-side battle, though, between Shane Lake and Charles Sandfer. And now McCrury says, all right, you guys battling, I'll pass you both. 3-wide move for the lead, heading into turn 3. Here comes the 61. Oh my goodness, who's going to lead this lap? Will it be McCrury? Will it be Lake? Will it be Sandfer? Drag race to the line, give it to the 55 by a couple of inches. Great racing at the front of the field. Oh, careful, careful, careful. No, no! Oh. Shane Lake and Charles Sandfer just didn't give each other room. Benny Watson, the 24, got collected. And Lake has to go to pit road, and that put, I believe, Anthony McCrury in the race lead. And L Alvarise is back on the lead lap now as well. Wow. Talk about a comeback after falling 2 laps down. And with about maybe 17 laps to go, he's back on the lead lap. But boy, Watson's on pit road. He got into Shane Lake. There is Sandfer, and there's the 55. These two were battling for the lead just moments ago. And now they've got badly mangled race cars, and they're sitting on pit lane. Man, hate to see that. Second time that we've had a caution involving drivers that were up inside the top 5 at the time. We had the Kyle Mathews, Sean Gallighan, J Bryant incident out of 4, and now we've got Charles Sandfer and Shane Lake out of turn number 2. Anthony McCrury leads us under yellow. Let's jump back and see what happened in an in-depth replay of our 3rd yellow flag of the day. Here it was. And I saw that Lake was not giving Sandfer much room and vice versa, and you just kind of felt this was going to happen, but you hoped and prayed it wouldn't. There you see it. Lake crowds Sandfer. Sandfer gets into his right rear. Alex Drayton in the 77 got a piece of the wreck. Didn't see that. It was actually him that Benny Watson ran into the back of. Charles Sandfer swings around in front of traffic. He got into the 3 of Brooke Allan, but I'm not rightly certain. Oh yeah, Brooke got turned around. She's going to get hit there by Tim Walsh. Maybe a little contact as well for the 51 of J McCloud. And Poteet and J Bryant come flying through. They picked up some spots as a result of that. Trent Dunham and J McCloud both had to get on the brakes to avoid the wreck. But oh yeah, there's some pretty significant damage there on the 77 of Alex Drayton. Another front runner. Don't know how much damage Brooke Allen's got. Same for Tim Walsh. Brooks got at least left side damage, I know that. Benny Watson there with that front end damage on his Chick-fil-A Chevrolet. And there is Charles Sandfer. And Shane Lake's car didn't even get to make it around to pit road. had to teleport to pit road. Man, a lot of front runners involved in this one again. And it's getting ready to shape up for a restart with, I think, somewhere around 15 laps to go. The interesting thing is, too, these drivers came to pit road, I think it was back on lap 8 under our first caution. They've not been to pit road since. I thought for certain they weren't going to be able to make it the full 47 laps on fuel, and when they pitted as early as they did, I thought probably they were going to have to pit again, but maybe that's not the case. Maybe they are good to go, and maybe with these cautions, they're able to save fuel under pacing as well. I didn't think of that. So Anthony McCrury will be the leader when we restart, and when we restart, there will be 15 laps to go on the dot. Joseph Srigley will line up in second. Third place will be Cody Smart. Fourth place, K Shearer. Fifth place, Emmanuel Hartnett. And the rest of the top 10, look at some of these guys that are up here now. Daniel Gilbert, 6th. Joshua Cobb, the points leader, 7th. Kyle Keith in 8th. Dylan Young's up in 9th. And John Arndt currently completes the top 10. Let's go a little bit further back. Zachary Fitzwater restarts 11th. Elijah Gilbert in 12th. Jake Baskinger 13th. Chris Dodd 14th. Dallas McIntosh 15th. Dylan Poteet, hoodless and all, is 16th. 17th, J Bryant. 18th, Trent Dunham. 19th, J McCloud. Tim Walsh in 20th. 21st is Brooke Allen. 22nd, Daniel Voyles. 23rd is Jordan Anderson, rather. How about L Alvarise? He's 24th. He's back in the lead lap. 25th is Benny Watson. Last car in the lead lap is 26th place Alex Drayton. Charles Sandfer is 1 lap down. Shane Lake was the only driver to retire out of the race after that incident. Green flag back in the air here at Phoenix. Four drivers, 4 different entries into turn 1. 3-wide battle will be on for second. K Shearer, Cody Smart, Joseph Srigley. This all going on behind the current race leader, Anthony McCrury. Cody Smart, who was a 3-time winner back when the Hersheys Cup Series non-charter system was going on. Still looking for his first charter win in the Hersheys Cup Series, though. And Srigley going to cross lanes to battle now side by side between a couple of Ford Fusions for second place. Lone Toyota there, Emmanuel Hartnett hanging tough in the 5th position. As Srigley tries to clear Cody Smart off turn 4, not able to do it just yet. This all going on behind the Paladin Chevrolet of Anthony McCrury, and here comes Joshua Collard. What a solid outing he has had. Came into this race the points leader. Looks like he'll leave the points leader, barring any issue here in these final few laps. Very strong Chevrolet Camaro. He's got a strong enough car. He might be able to get up here and have something to say about this win. Kyle Keith right there with him there in the 29. Meanwhile up front, they've gotten single file from second place on back. That's bad news for Anthony McCrury because they could maybe start reeling in that 61 car. Last time by, the second place car of Srigley was 0.3 of a second behind the 61. We'll see if that gap increases or decreases when they hit the line this time. Now it may increase because Cody Smart's going to drive to the inside of Srigley for the second position. At the line, it increased by a little bit. But Srigley, around the outside line, hangs on to second. Well, as soon as I say that, Cody Smart back to the bottom. I thought it was going to be a battle for third between Hartnett and Smart, but Smart not giving up for that runner-up position. Curry coming around to get 10 laps to go. We've worked 3 cautions. It'd be nice to see this race end under green. And he opened up the gap between himself and second place by about another 10th. They continue to battle for second place. That's allowing McCrury to just hit his marks and drive away. McCrury's turning Q laps. These drivers side by side, there's no way they can turn fast lap times, taking away each other's preferred racing line. Drop back a little bit further here in the top 10. How about Jake Baskinger? Nice comeback there for the 38. He's side by side right now with Dylan Young. That's a battle for the 9th spot. Zachary Fitzwater, 2-time Phoenix race winner in the 11th spot. Ooh, got a little squirrely there. Almost got up into the left rear quarter panel of Dylan Young. Hangs on to it though, keeps going. Still green. And now Baskinger completes passing Dylan Young. Now going to try and go by K Shearer. Meanwhile, Kyle Keith all over the back bumper of Joshua Collard. This has been a battle heating up for 5th place last couple of laps. The Michael Norman Motorsports Camaro versus the William Brock Motorsports Camaro. Both of them battling each other and also trying to get up into this battle for the second position between Cody Smart and Joseph Srigley. Hartnett also thick in this battle. But as they continue to race side by side, they continue to lose a tenth a lap to Anthony McCrury in the 61. They're now a little less than 7/10 of a second back behind McCrury's Chevrolet. Look at the gap. That is a big gap. And I don't know if that's a gap that can be closed up within 6 laps. Jordan Anderson just hitting the start-finish line now, intending to turn 1. So this is almost a little bit more than a straightaway separating Anthony McCrury from any slower traffic. So barring a late race yellow, Anthony McCrury, for this current point in time, looks like he is setting sail to what would be his first win of the season. It's hard to believe 15 races into the year and McCrury is just now en route to what would be his first win. Battle for second is now 3 wide. Joshua Collard to the inside. Cody Smart and Joseph Srigley still battling there. How about Brooke Allan? Nice comeback there for the 3 after we saw her get involved in that last yellow flag. She's up in the 8th position. Matter of fact, all 3 of the Michael Norton Motorsports cars up in the top 10. Collard is 5th, Allan is 8th, Gilbert is 10th. We saw Trent Dunham have a pretty decent outing in the Coca-Cola 600. Was able to jump up to 15th in points. He's now, I believe, just now cracked the top 10. He's up in the 10th position. So that former champ, the defending champ, looking good. He's on a bit of a momentum streak now. Just trying to find victory lane. Cody Smart now firmly in control of second place, but the question is, in 3.5 laps, does he have enough time to be able to get up there and challenge Anthony McCrury for this win? Answer, I think, would be no, because now Joshua Collard is the inside, and that is for second place. And that again is going to continue to play into the advantage of Anthony McCrury. Collard is just looking for points, I think, right now. He's got to win at Bristol. He comes in the points leader, so he's just gaining as many points as possible. He'll take the second spot, heading into turns 3 and 4. As a matter of fact, he might be able to clear these guys, and maybe if he can break away, he might be the one that can maybe get up there and challenge McCrury. He's got a fast car, we know that. 2 laps to go, though. Is that enough time to be able to close up about 8/10 of a second? I don't rightly know. And they appear to be closing, just barely. And if Collard can get this battle for third going on behind him and he can get away, he might be able to do something, although time is running out. And now here comes Kyle Keith to the inside. So yeah, there's just no way these guys are going to be able to catch up to Anthony McCrury. So McCrury with the white flag displayed, looking to go coast to coast here at Phoenix. It wasn't a dominating performance. He didn't exactly lead the first portion of this race, but he was able to get by the wreck with Charles Sandfer and Shane Lake, which restarted him as the leader on the last restart, never looked back. As out of turn 4 for the final time, he started on the pole. He'll take the checkers. First win of the season. Anthony McCrury wins here today at Phoenix International Raceway in the Ticket Guardian 500. And if I'm not mistaken, that makes McCrury the first former champion to take a checkered flag this year. Still waiting for Kyle Mathews and Trent Dunham and Chris Dodd to all find victory lane. McCrury becomes the first one to do it. Comes into this race 18th in the point standings, and that win could very well have solidified McCrury a slot in this season's chase for the championship. Last year, McCrury made the playoffs, finished 6th overall, was eliminated in the next to last round. Trying to look for redemption, trying to become the first multi-time champion in Hersheys Cup Series history, and this may have been a good start to that goal. Think about it, too, the heartbreak of Anthony McCrury a couple of weeks ago in the All-Star race, trying to chase history to become a back-to-back-to-back winner of the All-Star race, came up about a half car length short to Charles Sandfer, finishing second in that All-Star race, so some sweet retribution here, picking up a points win at Phoenix. Brooke Allan going to finish in second. How about the 3 team? That 3 team is on fire last couple of weeks. My goodness. Took that win at Richmond and has completely turned her season around. Kyle Keith's going to finish out the day in third. 4th place there for Joshua Collard. Chevy Camaros ran really well today. Collard will definitely increase his points lead with this 4th place run. And how about J Baskinger? A nice run for him as he's going to finish in the top 5. That's one of the drivers come into this race outside of the top 30 in the points, 32nd in the points coming to this race, so a well-needed run for that driver out of Flying Aces Racing, trying to complete the 3-driver sweep for wins for Flying Aces Racing team. Cody Smart battled hard all day. He was battling for second, but got shuffled out there to 6th in the closing stage, but a solid run for him. Joseph Srigley there in 7th. 8th place was Emmanuel Hartnett. 9th place for Trent Dunham, and I think Zachary Fitzwater likes Phoenix. He's won here twice, gets a solid top 10 run here today in that 59 car. Daniel Voyles managed to finish in 11th place. Nice run for him. John Arndt there in 12th. How about L Alvarise? My goodness. He was 2 laps down, had missed a shift on the start of the race, fell 2 laps down. They got the car fixed, whatever the mechanical problem was. He got 1 lap back with a caution. He got 1 lap back again with a caution, got back in the lead lap, and finishes in the 13th position. That has to be the comeback of the race. No doubt about it. And that's going to probably help him get into the top 30 in the point stands here today as well, following up his win last week in the Coke 600. Daniel Guilbert brings it home in 14th, Dylan Young 15th, and the rest of your top 20 were James McCloud, Elijah Gilbert, K Shearer, Tim Walsh, and Dallas McIntosh. Chris Dodd was 21st, Dylan Poteet, hoodless and all, gets 22nd. J Bryant was 3rd, and the rest of the cars finished on the lead lap were Alex Drayton 24th, Benny Watson 25th, and Jordan Anderson in 26th. Charles Sandfer got involved in that last caution, finished a lap down in 27th, and all the rest of these drivers finished out of the race during the course of 3 wrecks, especially a big wreck that brought out our first yellow flag of the day. Big wreck out of turn number 4. Pretty much the drivers from Jessica Shelton on down were involved in that one. Cole Baker and Kat Batson, they got involved in the wreck out of turn 2, and then of course Shane Lake out of the race after he and Charles Sandfer got involved in a wreck out of turn 2 while battling 3 wide for the race lead. But that's going to do it here from Phoenix. Anthony McCrury becomes yet another first-time winner this season in the Hersheys Cup Series. So the playoffs grid continues to get congested with first-time winners as we draw closer to the end of the regular season and the beginning of the playoffs. But thank you all for tuning today's race, from Phoenix. If you enjoyed it, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe to become a part of the crew today. We have shown you your full finish results. These are your rookie point standings and your overall point standings heading into next week's race. Drivers that are highlighted in yellow would be the current 16 drivers that would battle if the playoffs would begin right now. Next week, Pizza Hut X Series drivers are off, but we have the Truck Series and Hersheys Cup Series action coming from you from the Lady in Black, the track too tough to tame. It's Darlington Raceway. I'm still not completely certain if I'm going to do throwback schemes this year for the Hersheys Cup Series drivers. We're going to have to wait and see. But till then, you'll find out. We'll see you guys next time as you've been watching Production NSRA Offline Racing at its best. So long from Phoenix.